So I have 2 or 3 little stories to tell you. I wore this coat today in honor of Carolyn because very shortly after I bought this coat at Moss Brothers, she and I went to a buffet. And as is wont to be the case, I got a little bit too close to the chocolate cake, and I got a big old wad of chocolate cake on my coat. And Carolyn said, "Honey, if we were somewhere else, I'd just lick that off for you, but you're going to have to take it to the cleaners." So that was one story. Now, shortly after I came to Tampa, my boss, Bob Hunter, decided that I should meet some interesting people. And so Michael English and Linda Solsena and Carolyn all met me at a restaurant on MacDill Avenue. And the very first words that Carolyn ever said to me were, "I'm having the calamari." Also, we were in this very room in Mise en Place at a long table, and I was probably sitting about where I'm sitting now. And there was a company of important art people, and we were having a lunch about something. And one of the people at the table was a woman of some substance who was carrying on at great length. And I could tell that this irritated Carolyn a little bit because Carolyn loved to be the center of attention. And this other woman was being in the center of attention and being very demanding. And I said to Carolyn, "Carolyn, is it possible that she's just a little bit of a Jap?" And Carolyn said, "Oh, honey, she's a bona fide Japaroony." Carolyn was completely incapable of saying anything in a whisper. All of her whispers were stage whispers that were at full volume. And she would take any opportunity to comment on any sort of foolishness that she saw going on in the world. She and I served for many years on the board of the Arts Council, and Carolyn, during the proceedings of the Arts Council, would say whatever was on her mind in a stage whisper to me, but so that everyone at the table could hear her. And so finally, in exasperation, the chairman of the board of the Arts Council said, "Carolyn, if you and Bill don't stop this mischief, I'm going to have to separate you." And she did. And so my apologies to all of the people who served on the Arts Council with us. I'm sorry that we were so disruptive, but I know that you must have enjoyed it. And speaking of whispers, once Carolyn knew how other people ought to behave, but she was not subject to those same rules. And so we were out at in a public event, and there was a young woman talking to another young woman, and both of their kids were running around shrieking and screaming and causing great disruption. And Carolyn waited until the right moment when things were quiet, and she said in one of her stage whispers, "Somebody ought to slap those children silly."